Hello, Ralph.
Hello, my friend. It's so great to see you again. How is everything? How are you doing? What's going on?
Staying busy. Summertime. We're getting a lot of schools ready. Looking forward to September, and now is our busy season.
I was going to say, every industry has a different busy season, and summer's got to be the busy season when you work in schools, right? Because it's all tearing it apart, restripping and finishing all the floors, getting all the gum off the desks.
Everything. It's basically picture deep cleaning a resident room, but we're deep cleaning a classroom.
Yeah,
taking everything out of the room, and we work hand in hand with the maintenance department, which will come in and repatch the classrooms, do electrical work, or make any changes that are needed. So, that which can hold us up from time to time.
Maintenance, damn maintenance. Let's go all the way back though. I really like to just start in the beginning. Where did you grow up?
Grew up in Philadelphia.
Oh, so you've never left Pennsylvania?
Well, we left. I left probably it was 7th grade. Went to Hamilton, New Jersey.
Oh,
and then from there, graduated Hamilton High School.
And now you're back in Pennsylvania?
No, back in Cherry Hill, New Jersey.
Oh, I for some reason I kept thinking you were in Pennsylvania. Maybe just because all your business is in Pennsylvania, or a lot of your business. Do you have business in Pennsylvania? Am I making this up?
Tri-state area: Philadelphia, New Jersey, Delaware.
All right. So you graduate high school. Did you work during high school? Did you have like a summer job or night school or anything?
Yeah.
Or night job?
I worked on blueberry farms. From there, I worked did a little retail, worked in the casino industry, parking cars.
Really?
Always worked.
How old were you when you got your first job? Were you like 15, 16?
First legal job was probably 14. Prior to that, when I lived in Philadelphia, we would sell pretzels on the corner. And
you're not the first person to tell me about selling pretzels in Philadelphia. Like, that's a legit kid job.
Yes.
I did not have that experience, and thank God I'd be the size of a house because I love me a big soft pretzel.
Right.
I think it was one of those. Was it kind of like one of those things where they gave you however many pretzels and you had to sell so many? We
would have to walk. We'd walk down to 7th and Federal, Philadelphia. There was a pretzel factory there, and you would pay, I think it was $100, or excuse me, 100 pretzels for $10. And you would sell the pretzels, 20 cents each or 25 cents each and 5 for $1.
Wow.
Basically just double your money, and that was your spending money.
I had a paper route when I was a kid, and it was not that easy to make money on a paper route as it seems to be selling pretzels. I'd have done much better with selling pretzels.
Well, I had that also.
Oh, you had a paper route too?
I had a Philadelphia Daily News, and back then you were responsible for actually collecting the money as well with the paper route.
So was I, and that's where my challenge came in because the people in my neighborhood simply wouldn't answer the door. They pulled the whole Halloween thing on me. You know what I mean? They don't want to give candy to the kids, so they pretend they're not there.
Right.
That's how I always got screwed on that. Collecting money. It turns out it never ends.
Nope.
It never ends. It's always been a challenge. So that's pretty awesome because we're going to get into it. You're a full-blown entrepreneur. You've owned your own business for a long time. But you started really early on learning the ropes about getting sales, collecting money. Yes.
And then probably, I want to say around 91, in the early 90s, I learned I liked working in nightclubs, and I was like a nightclub promoter. And back then there was no social media. So when you wanted to get people into the club, you would actually have to print a flyer, bring it to the beach down in Wildwood and circulate it. And then that night people would come to the club and you would get a percentage of the door money.
Wow.
So
it's like we're living parallel lives, because I had the same experience, except I worked in radio. It was my first radio job, and I was working as a writer. So bad, I just wanted to be a writer in radio, a comedy writer. And they were like, "Hey, we've got this promotion we're doing. So every Saturday we go across the border to Canada and do this big show for everybody. We try to bring as many Americans across the border to this place, and we get a percentage of the door." And I'm like, "All right," so it was all the same thing.
Right.
Hype it up, but we'd use radio to hype it up like mad, and try to bring as many people as possible to the show.
We used the club. They would use radio as well down here in South Jersey. And as you know, it's you have basically 12 weeks to make your money at the Jersey Shore back then. And it was fun and it was profitable.
It's so great, all the different. You're like, when you look back on your life, I remember I worked at a grocery store, and it's where I first started to learn about displays. And you start trying to figure out how to attract people's attention when they walk into a grocery store for a gallon of milk, and you're hoping that they also see the Budweiser display, right? And it compels them to grab a new 30-pack, which was all the rage when I was working there. So it's funny, you kind of have that similar. Because you think about everything we do in business, from sales, marketing, cold calling, getting customers, trying to get paid, servicing a customer, handling, issues and problems. We've been doing it since we were kids.
Correct. And the techniques and everything have evolved like every other business.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Back then we would hand out flyers on the beach or VIP cards and stuff like that. Now everything's social media. You have an event and just click. So
agreed. I still think, and I know I'm wrong, but so it's not that I think, it's that I still like tactile marketing. I like flyers. I like, banners. I like, I even make it as part of my effort when I'm recruiting staff. I still go to the grocery store and post a sign,
Right. I agree. And I think it works. I've tried so many different things with marketing, and I'm not afraid to continue to try new things. But like in my industry, I've learned what works and what doesn't work.
In my industry, and we're in parallel industries, I've learned I have no idea what works, and what worked yesterday might not work today, but it might work tomorrow. You know what I mean? Everything is on the table for me. Everything. I don't disregard anything.
No, I think we definitely got to continue to try and develop try new things, and you can't knock something until you try it. So each industry, even though they are similar, like I know, like when I'm marketing childcare centers under daycare cleaning services, I know if I send a letter out, it's going to go directly to the decision maker, which is the owner at the childcare center. And that's who's going to open up the mail. As opposed to if I send something to a school, a big school, I have to kind of find out who the decision maker is going to be, the business administrator, principal. I just can't send it to anyone.
Yeah.
I got to make sure that letter is going to work.
Yeah, agreed. Which
goes back to telemarketing. And if I have the person's name and phone number, is it really telemarketing when I'm calling to say, "Hi, I'd like to just introduce myself. We're going to send something in the mail to your school, and if you could just keep it on file. And hey, we'd like to just introduce our company to you at some time." Not look for the immediate sale.
Yeah, that's important I make a lot of cold calls. I make cold calls every day. It's part of my routine. And only because I know that what I suffer from, and you might suffer from the same affliction, or maybe to a lesser extent than I do, is obscurity. People just don't know I exist. and they don't know what I offer. And so really it becomes a game, or it becomes a challenge for me to get in front of the people who I want to get in front of. And so I cold call. I legit say, hi, I'm Ralph. This is what I do.
Right.
Reason I'm calling. I agree. I mean, it's not about making a sale. It's about being aware. I want people to be aware that I exist and what I do.
Right.
So let's continue with the historical aspect of Rob Nestore. Hey, when did you get into cleaning? Like how did you go from high school or college to cleaning?
As you know, when you're working in the hospitality industry, you're a waiter, you're a busboy, you're bartending, it's crazy hours, and certain aspects, certain jobs are seasonal, and it's so I was looking for stability, and did have the opportunity to work at a Wawa.
Very cool.
So, I mean, Wawa, they've evolved. Now there's gas stations.
Oh, they weren't?
Back then, no.
Oh, no kidding.
So I did get some great people skills working for Wawa. But from then, my person I made a partner, they introduced me to long-term care. And that's where I was able to have a successful career. I worked long-term care for HCSG.
How old were you when you started for them?
I was 28 years old.
Oh, so for a good chunk of your, out of high school, I know you went to college too. You weren't doing anything specific, just kind of meandering a little bit?
It was between the casino, parking car. I mean, here's the problem. When you're working back then, you're working in the casino industry. I'm parking cars. I'm making $200-300 a night. We're talking 1990, 91. How do you tell a 20-year-old kid, hey, go work for $5 an hour somewhere? So, same with the bars, the restaurants. It was a different time.
Yeah, I think people have that same. I see that happening now, where there's less than. I don't even know how to put it. I wanted to say like less than honorable, but certainly nefarious jobs, like jobs that when you're 40, you're going to look back on and go, oh, I wish that wasn't still on the internet. You know what I mean? But right now, to the 20-year-old, it's good money.
Correct.
And so, to say any kind of, hey, maybe you shouldn't be doing this, maybe you should think longer term, to your point, it's hard to have that argument.
So, anyway, I started long-term care 1998, took it real serious, went from working at the Jersey Shore and going to Philadelphia, West Philadelphia. I ran one of the biggest buildings they had, which was called Care Pavilion, 62nd and Walnut. And
how big is that building? How many beds is it?
400 beds.
Yeah, that's a big building.
And it was a challenge, but we got them through back then we got them. When I was there, we got them through a deficiency-free survey.
Wow.
Which was amazing. And the person that gave me my opportunity there, I went there as an assistant, and the manager, he went to Genesis. He left for a different position. And then I think that person ultimately became a nursing home administrator. Started out
That's pretty common. That's common.
Right. Yeah. So the administrator wanted to give me the opportunity. Nice. And she gave me the opportunity. It worked out great. I got them through the survey. From there, I learned the industry. I was able to expand my knowledge, and they were making me like an area manager. From there, district manager. And while all this was happening, and we're talking, say, 2000, here, I'm going to tell you what the game changer was.
Yeah.
I'm working real hard for corporate America. okay? Taking it all serious 6-7 days a week. Not physically there, but, calling all your buildings on a Saturday, calling on a Sunday, not looking at how much vacation I'm taking or anything like that. Pro company. And I shared with you, I was doing so good that they put me on their corporate portfolio.
I know, that's pretty great. So you're already, I like this. So, I like everything about this story so far. I like that you're a corporate person. I too am a corporate guy, I'm not a clock watcher. I like that. I'm not.
And, what was happening, okay, so what the game changer really, really was me and my wife, we get married and we have a daughter.
What year did you get married?
2000. And we have our daughter. And it's 2001. My wife, she had a great job in the casino industry, and she was the breadwinner. I had the job. I was doing good, but she had the big job in the casino industry. And she would get done work at 7-8 o'clock at night. And myself, I would be going in early, 7 a.m., and having to get back to pick up our daughter from childcare. And my wife said, because we went to go look at like 5 or 6 childcare centers, and she was like, these places, I'm quitting. I'm not going to put my child in here. So anyway, we found a nice place, and I had to pick our daughter up every day. So I had to leave the nursing home in Philly by 4:30, 5 o'clock, because childcare closes at 6. And my wife isn't going to get home till 8 o'clock at night. I seen that there was a need. Like, I would look at things, the way we clean the long-term care facility, and say, wow, I could do the same thing. That's the right way to clean. I would go in and say, they're not using the right chemicals. They're not doing this. They're not doing that. I got to know the people. And then I finally, I realized also the price of childcare, which back then it wasn't a lot, but to me it was like $600-700 a month for 3 days a week. And I said, how am I going to do this? And, that's when I started saying, I got to have a plan B, because, I don't know there was a lot of things changing in long-term care. I think back then you had IHS, you had Manor Care, and you had I started to see where outside contractors would lose half their business and people would just be laid off. And I was like, I worked too hard. I didn't want to go to work every day and be fearful that, say, Genesis or IHS is going to take back all their buildings and go in-house. I was like, what am I going to do?
Mm-hmm.
So I said to the owners, I said, look, can I clean the school? They said, no, we have somebody. Kept asking, can I clean the school?
So you're talking about the owners of the school?
Of the childcare center.
Yeah, I love this. Side hustle 101. Keep going.
Right. So I kept asking, right? Never gave up at asking. And then I think it might have been around a February or a March. The cleaners never showed up. So I'm picking up my daughter and the owner's wife, and these people built the shopping center. They didn't even want to be in the childcare industry. They built the shopping center, and this childcare center, which we'll get to in a little bit, but it gets sold. So anyway, they said, can you clean? I said, absolutely. I called my wife, get home. We got an emergency. She goes, what? I said, just get home. I got to go clean the school. Okay. Right. Picking up the baby. The baby just turned 21 over the weekend.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
He lived.
The baby's a little older now, but I started, I cleaned the school. And
so right out of the gate, you're cleaning. You're not hiring somebody. You're doing it yourself.
I'm working all day in the nursing home, picking up my daughter by 6, feeding her, because it's just me and my wife feeding her. My wife's getting home at 8. She would get home at 8. Now I would go clean 4 hours.
Love this.
Okay.
Yeah. Great.
Everything's going great. And I'm happy. I'm only charging them like $1,000 a month.
Love it.
Okay. Come June, I go to the school. Well, I find out Nobel Learning, which is Chesterbrook, is going to buy the school. And, I'm panicking. I'm thinking
you're going to lose the contract.
I'm losing.
How often are you cleaning it, by the way? Is this every night you're cleaning it?
Every night.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's Monday to Friday.
Yep.
I'm cleaning it. I never had this is like a real business now I'm turning.
Yeah, sure. I love it. Yeah.
But so, Chesterbrook, Nobel Learning, Chesterbrook, they take over and they want to, I have to get them insurance. So now I got to go get insurance with the mom and pop that knew me. Things were different back then. So I have to go out, get the insurance. I'm like, damn, $1,000 a month. How am I, I'll make it work. So turns out I'm doing it for about a month. They're very happy. Their district manager, who became a dear friend of mine, she actually likes to see the building. She likes what she sees. Okay. And I get a phone call. We have an emergency in Cherry Hill. Right? Can you handle it? And I'm at the nursing home, West Philly, but the person that keeps like walking back and forth, right? That's my partner. I said, Mike, go take care of this. And Mike runs over there, and they're really happy. Okay. But while all this is going on, they still don't put all their eggs in one basket. So while all this is going on, I'm growing. People are starting to take notice. And I'm just doing this locally. Now I get a Goddard school that calls. Can you do our school? Right? And, back then we didn't even advertise on the internet. It was just word of mouth. So I signed the Goddard school. And the owner, we became friends. And, I get that one. Now, my mom, I'm like, who am I going to get to clean? I can't be both places. My mom, she's working at a pharmaceutical company around the corner from the Goddard school. She takes it. So she gets done 11 o'clock at night and she starts cleaning the school.
Awesome.
11 o'clock at night. And I'm doing, I'm over there, but then eventually she brings her friend and they're both cleaning it till
Your whole family's a bunch of hustlers.
Right. So, and that's how I grew organically and slow. And then after about a year, what happened was, and we did this just for extra money at first. I hear about the childcare conference. And when you go in all these childcare centers, they got the magazines and their other childcare centers are advertising. And I get this thing. It's Philadelphia Childcare. It was called DVACI, Delaware Valley Childcare Association. I said, well, I should do this. And everybody said, well, how are you going to do it? You don't have an exhibit booth. I still have the exhibit booth. It's right here, actually. It's a piece of poster board. Okay. And I went to the school that I cleaned and I took pictures with a Polaroid. Okay. And my sister-in-law laminated them for me. We set this thing up and I still got the poster board and, probably cost about maybe $10, $15.
I was going to say $8 worth of advertising.
So that's how I did it. And then from there, I was there. Like we used to do the conventions with the nursing homes, my suit, tie, shirt, and people started noticing and they were coming over and I got my business cards made at Office Depot or something like that. And, I really didn't have brochures. I had letterhead, but I made the letterhead and I also made portfolio packets. So, and that was really one of the game changers that happened. And, that's what really took off. And then we're growing gradually. And I get my partner at the time, he was working for a competitor. He was out in Indiana, but then afterwards he came here. And I'll never forget. I get this school. I'm reading the daily news, and in the back, because when you had to search public bids, there was a charter school being advertised, and I'm there with one of my guy Steve, whom I think you know, but anyway, he's the account manager, and I opened the newspaper and I said, "Wow!" And I called during my lunchtime. Okay. And I said, "Can we get the bid information?" And we could send it to you in the mail or you could pick it up. Places in Ben Salem. Anyway, we put the bid in. Okay. And back then it wasn't a lot of red tape with these bids. So
now it's a monster to put a bid in. But
yeah, they're like this.
Yeah.
They're like this. They want everything, and they want everything from financial statements, which is good and bad, but it's hard to start a company today. So we put it in. My partner that was with the competitor at the time, he's moonlighting with me. He runs over there. Okay. This is after we get it. His company finds out and they give him the axe.
Wow.
I'm like, here's the guy that got me the job. And now I just got the guy, fired without, so he was okay. I said, "Don't worry, we're not going to stop. We're going to make this happen." I'm still going to, by me working in the daytime, that allowed me to have the money for payroll and keep the business going. And then I had a good guy, right? I have a good guy doing the operations and going on all the emergencies and everything else that's happening. Now, keep in mind, in the beginning, our niche, we started out as daycare cleaning services. And that's our niche with that company. But then we started getting asked, can you do charter schools? Can you do special needs schools? And we did, because we didn't want, what was happening also was people were saying, "Oh, well, you only do daycare centers. We have a big school." I said, "We could do a big school."
Yeah.
So eventually what we did was we formed another company called Education Facility Management. Okay. And that one is used to go after your K to 12 schools. So
how long was it your, quote unquote side hustle before you quit and just started doing it full time? How long were you?
It became full time before I left, and May of 2004, that's when I left. It was like right before Memorial Day weekend. And, as you know, they let me go, and I was in shock. I was like, because I always put them first.
Yeah, they let you go, just so we can go over this real quick. I don't want to hammer it, but I know the story. But they let you go basically because they didn't want you to do two things. They're like, You're either with us or you're doing something else, right?
I think that's how it was. Today,
I think that's kind of how most companies are, right? Like most companies.
Today, I don't think you could do that. Back then, you could do.
Yeah.
You get away with it. It was like a lot. They didn't want you to work at Home Depot on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Extra.
Yeah.
But, it was a blessing in disguise, because the next day I woke up and I said, I'm not going to stop. I've already built this to where we're doing 30 accounts on the side. And, I don't want to stop. I want to turn this into something. And that year our sales revenue, I think it was only, we basically grew almost $1 million in sales that year, in 1 year after I left. So when I was able to leave, I was able to focus 100% on my side hustle, which became my livelihood. And
you did it in a very relatively short amount of time, right? I mean, you went from, was this 2002 to 2004, basically?
2001, I was only doing one cleaning account. It was like an experiment. And then I started, really getting into other ones. But when I left in 2004, I had about 30 accounts. And then I was able to,
you grew by 30 accounts?
Yes. Well,
that's pretty impressive. That's hustle.
But I was working a daytime job, and I had, a partner.
So what do you have now? Like 8 million accounts?
No.
I mean, with that kind
we have, we have a few things to get to or talk about. You go up and you're still learning. And I wish I knew about the BSCAI back then. I wish I knew about the ISSA. I wish I knew about these different organizations. Just like when I was a housekeeping manager, I wish I knew about the different groups that you belong to.
Yeah, like IEHA, right?
Yeah. I mean, for some reason, back then, I guess the companies, they were reluctant to take their managers to these different events. I think that's changed, but
what's funny, just as a side to that, when I first joined IEHA, the International Executive Housekeepers Association, for those who don't know, but I was the only person from long-term care. As a matter of fact, I never met anybody from long-term care that was in that group. And the reason, and I'm just going to say it the way it really is, I'm not going to sugarcoat it at all. The reason is because, and I don't see it much changing right now, but nursing homes they simply don't spend money on educating their housekeeping directors. They just don't. I just had a guy call me the other day, an owner of a nursing home, and he said, you need to do me a favor. I need somebody who knows floor care, who knows how to manage, who can manage nursing, who can manage this department, manage that department, also work, 12 hours a day and work on Christmas, like all these parameters. I want somebody who just knows everything. And I said, well, I'll tell you what I can do. I can help find you a good person for that. And then we can offer some ongoing training. Not interested. I want somebody who already knows everything. I don't want to I'm not going to invest any money in their education. And that is the attitude, not on every nursing home, but in a lot of nursing homes. They just simply don't. That's why nobody from long-term care, that's why it's hard to find nursing home housekeeping managers in any association.
Right. And a lot of them, people, what I've seen is the successful ones that they're very hard to hold on to due to budgets, but they move on and go work at a hospital where they do see going to the conference and
$1,000,000%
being important.
$1,000,000%. They are the hospital, I bet, hospital managers, housekeeping directors, I bet make up the bulk of the members, or at least they're a real significant number of the members in IEHA. So healthcare pays for it, just not long-term care.
And it's, looking back also, I know things are different now, but even technology, using like backpack vacuum cleaners. Hopefully every long-term care facility has them now.
I love, so I would, oh, Rob, too funny. Housekeepers Podcast. I thought when you were started to talk about technology, I thought you were going to talk about tablets and apps. And no, you went right to the most basic.
Right. Basic. Correct.
A backpack vacuum should be $1,000,000% in every nursing home. You know it isn't.
You won't need the dust.
You know it isn't. You know it isn't. You know it isn't. You know it isn't.
It's like every housekeeper should have their own backpack vacuum cleaner. There's no duster.
Man.
There's no dust. You won't need a dust mop. You won't need a duster.
Too funny. Yeah, they still don't have them. I was working with a nursing home and I thought it was pretty ingenious. They did have little dust busters, the cordless dust busters,
right.
And maintenance had attached them to their cart so they could plug in their cart at night. So when they came in the morning, their dust buster was fully charged, which is really great. But then, right. Of course, nobody ever remembered to plug them in, and it was a whole nightmare and cords breaking and whatever. But
the key to success with budgets always being the way they will be, and never changing. It's having the technology so you can do your job.
Yeah.
And do, trying to clean 30 rooms, or I don't know, what's the average housekeeper clean?
25.
25.
Yeah.
At least have the right technology, right equipment for them.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. We've come a long way. I mean, you'll just look at auto scrubbers.
Right.
Remember,
we didn't even we weren't
even, boost machines. We didn't have anything like that.
No.
I mean,
we didn't even have a carpet extractor back then.
or a piler, or,
right.
It's yeah.
So things have changed. And we've, like I said, in my business, they've also changed. So we're always evolving, and which takes us to, I want to say around 2009, 2010, the economy crashed.
Yeah. 2008 crashed completely.
2008. And then I started feeling it, where a lot of the corporate childcare chains were going with national companies, national contract cleaning companies that would then in return try to just sub out the work to me.
Yeah.
Instead of bidding things correctly, they would bid backwards. They would lower the price, lower. And basically a lot of them actually got in trouble because people, they were just creating a job for them. I think you heard what happened at Walmart and, some of the other companies, but basically I wrote it out and, started to, between the schools, started doing public schools, and that went very well. But I didn't give up on the child care centers or daycare cleaning. And I tried to franchise daycare cleaning services.
Really? I didn't know you tried to franchise.
But, I didn't realize what was involved. So it wasn't able to sell one franchise. So as much good I could talk about, I also got failure, which I learned. I was able to write a lot of great manuals on systems and implement them. But trying to franchise back in 2012, nobody had money. And I was trying to do it the correct way. Not basically the person that was making the investment. They had to purchase equipment. They had to purchase a van. They had to have a side-by-side, a low-speed machine. They had to purchase a high-speed machine. Just basically having the right setup to be successful. Mm-hmm. And I was not successful in finding investment for that. So anyway, with that, moved on, didn't give up, still had the business, and was able to meet Marcus Lemonis, the prophet. And I don't know if you've seen the video.
The video of you.
We did a video in 2015. And he tells me, I tell him my problems, and it's on Inc. magazine. It's on YouTube. I tell him some of the issues, and I say I want to expand. And he goes, Rob, you can. So his advice was, don't just do child care centers, do other things. Okay, and I'm stubborn. Okay, I still don't want to listen. His advice was, instead of driving 100 miles down to Baltimore to go clean one center, focus on things that are in your area, stuff that's 10 miles away, offices, auto dealerships. So, like I said, I'm stubborn a little, so I don't really do anything until 2 years ago, right before COVID. I said, you know what? I'm going to take his advice. And
It took you 3 years to take his advice?
Yes. I was still focused on the schools with the two companies. So
I'm in the same boat. I have no room to talk.
So what I do, I take the initials DCCS, and I say, well, what does that stand for? I said, well, maybe I'll get an alternate name so I don't have to go get new insurance, new this, new that, form a new company. You can get an alternate name.
A DBA, yeah?
Which I did. And I got an alternate name for DCCS, so everything stays the same. And I started Diversified Contract Cleaning Services.
Look at you. That's really great. That's a great use of the initials.
Basically, I'm using that company to go after other things locally. So if I can get back into medical, if I could do a dialysis center, different types of buildings. But it's kind of good that my niche has always been schools, especially during COVID, because a lot of people fail to realize there are many cleaning companies that went out of business.
Yeah, there's a lot of companies that went out of business completely during COVID, but right.
Cleaning, you would like if in other words, if I had a franchise and my contracts were offices, well, we both know
not only offices, but house cleaning, because everyone was at home.
Right.
So we're no longer, it's that two factor. Number one, my kids are not doing a dang thing, so I'm just going to have them do it. Right.
They were afraid to let somebody in their house.
That's the other part of it. The other part of it is there's no alone time. Normally you hire a housekeeper to come in once a week, once every 2 weeks, once a month, whatever it is. Right. But they come when you're not there. They come when you're not there. And that wasn't happening during COVID. So yeah, it's what's interesting is about your journey. And that is, it's such a great example of how powerful this industry is. The cleaning industry is the 7th largest industry in the world.
Right.
It is massive and it's everywhere. And so anybody, that's why when I'm talking with somebody about, they're a really good, strong housekeeping manager in a nursing home, which is normally people I'm talking to, I say, what's your side hustle? And when they say, I don't have one, I think, what a missed opportunity. What are you doing with your life?
Right.
Get out there on a Saturday. You're already cleaning anyway.
The whole thing is, I learned it was a great entry level job. I learned about a great industry.
Yeah.
And I learned if I apply what I learned elsewhere, I can be successful.
So here it is. It's, good Lord, almost 20 years later, right? Well, it is 20 years later since you started your side hustle, right?
Right.
What are your big takeaways? Other than, I know you said, I wish I knew and I was actively involved in these other organizations that supported companies like ours. Right. Other than that, like what's challenging you now? What are you facing now? What's your biggest?
It's always, well, we're definitely facing health employees. And again, we talk about how things evolve. And I shifted. When I started out, I would use subcontractors. Then I shifted everything to employees. Now it's kind of like if I can't find employees, I need to go back to shifting where I'm going to hire a small mom and pop janitorial company and help them grow their business.
So why did you switch from having 1099 employees, right? Like a little JC, a little general contractor.
Becoming knowledge, actually finding out about the BSCAI, finding out about ISSA, starting to read their knowledge, starting to read their books, and realizing, hey, what is a true subcontractor? What makes a true subcontractor? Because if that sub only has one account and they're only with you and it's one employee, well, they're really not a subcontractor, and the government views it as illegal subcontracting. So the shift was, let's get all regular employees. Let's be compliant. And we're talking, this was almost 14 years ago. So, wanted to do things correctly, because when you do things correctly, now you're able to bid on the correct contracts.
Yeah, of course.
You know, and, we go head to head with like an Aramark or a Service Master. You know, so we're there. We're, and it's basically it's doing things correctly. But with the small contracts, it is hard to find good staff. Okay, we've done everything from Indeed, the Craigslist, the Facebook. Tried recruiting from colleges as well. Most successful person, though, that we do find has been someone that already has a full-time job.
It's always that, isn't it?
And the best way for my business is someone that actually has worked in a healthcare environment, healthcare setting. Because one, I don't really need to train them when the training's been already done by, the nursing home or the hospital. I mean, they know their stuff. And having them work for us as like their second job, okay, to help put their kids through college or who wants to save for a vacation, they like it because when they're doing that evening clean, they're able pretty much to make their own hours versus if they were working at Walmart or Target or, Wawa. I mean, they're able to say, okay, tonight I want to go in at 7. It's just me and my husband. We do the clean from 7 to 11. Or tomorrow we're going to go in at 8. So that's a big perk.
Yeah. It's funny that, it's that whole adage where it's easier to speed up or change the direction of a rolling stone than it is to get a rolling stone moving in the first place.
Right.
And it's the same thing with staff, right? I mean, it's hard to convince somebody to get off the couch. But if they're already off the couch, it's a little easier to convince them to take a second job.
Correct.
It's crazy. At ISSA this year at the National Convention in Vegas in November, if you guys are just hearing about it, it is officially going to be live and in person. Going to be a great event. There's going to be an amazing speaker there. Anyway, it's so fun that, for years, there's always companies there with robots doing cleaning, doing floor care. And it's just getting more and more. I mean, I've never thought of this before, but I can totally see how valuable what are those things called? The little robo things that's vacuum for you. What are they called? The little carpet robots.
Right.
Roombas. A Roomba.
Okay.
I can totally see how valuable it would be. Like if I owned a house cleaning company, I would buy a Roomba and I would just, set it, turn it on and go clean the kitchen while it goes and vacuums the house for me. Right. Because it's so challenging to find staff, to find help.
Yes, unfortunately it is. And, it can't be about the money. It's, because unfortunately janitorial doesn't pay what it should.
Well, customers don't pay what.
Correct.
And customers are the one who dictates price. Right. So, I could say, hey, I'm going to pay all of my housekeepers $40 an hour. And then I go bid it and I'm over by $8 million. And I never get a contract. So.
Right. Unfortunately, we see where they still do go not everybody, but still too many people go with the lowest bid. And, it comes back every time to haunt them when they do that.
Yeah. And you know what? What's interesting about that is big contract service companies, I'm not going to mention any specifically, but big national contract service companies that do cleaning, housekeeping, they are more than willing to lose money on a bid to take it from somebody else. And in the short term, or not short term, because I don't think it's ever a good idea, but I understand the mentality of it. But what they failed to see is not the consequence. Here's what I'm trying to say. And I learned this the hard way. To be completely transparent, I learned this the hard way. I was in charge of selling housekeeping and laundry business for a long time.
Right.
I would find a home or a service that was being provided by one of my competitors. And I was told, and I eagerly went after doing literally bid the job to where it cost us money rather than, you know what I mean? Like we would do it for even if it cost us money to get the account. Here's the challenge with that though. And something I totally didn't look at is we treated it as we sold it for. So if we sold it for a lot of money, we treated it like a very valuable account. If we sold it for very little money, we treated it like it was a very little account.
Right.
And it would hurt us so bad in the end. Our reputation would be so marred. Or the accounts that we bid the smallest amount of money on, just to get the account, it would take all of our attention.
Oh shit.
That account would be the squeakiest wheel you ever heard in your whole life.
Right.
You'd be like, I'm making 6% on an account that takes 80% of my time.
Right.
Here's
going to be a shocker now. I understand that. First thing, I think every account needs to be treated the same.
Well, of course. It's not though.
As a business owner, and I didn't realize this until after having the business, what would be the benefit of me doing an account that I'm going to make zero money? Okay. I'm going to tell you.
Go ahead.
I'm able to establish an area. I'm able to start putting staff in a building. So now once I take that account, say in Reading, Pennsylvania. Isn't that where you're from or close?
No, I live in Allentown.
Okay, close. I was close but no cigar.
Yeah.
Okay, so say I went Allentown. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to get the account.
Lehigh Valley, by the way.
Right.
Lehigh Valley, by the way, ton of healthcare.
Right.
Ton of nursing homes. Lehigh Valley Hospital is an amazing hospital. That's a huge campus, too. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, so I'm going to take the account. I'm not going to make anything. But now what people fail to realize is the behind the scenes cost, the cost of hiring someone. So by me taking that account, even though I'm not making anything initially off of that account, I'm starting to put my quality people in that account. Now I'm able to start, I could do an outstanding job, and now I'm going to market the hell out of that area. So I can make money from building 2, 3, or 4 down the road. So
I completely agree with you because it's a loss leader.
Yes, but I didn't realize that until I had my own business down the road. Like my partner would say, we don't have no business being in Westchester. We can't do work up in Monmouth County. We don't belong outside of Atlantic County because that's how cleaning companies were back then. Each county had its own, mom and pop cleaning company, and that was in the 60s and 70s, 80s. Mm-hmm. That's kind of the way. That's who you dealt with,
It used to be the tank of gas theory, right? You need to. You would never drive to where you need another tank of gas. It's always a
right. So, I think that's the.
No, so I completely agree with you. And I love that you're challenging the perspective from a business owner point of view. But I was working for a national company and the people who would run these operations got paid based on the percentage of profit. Right. And if you're going into a 0% profit facility, meaning they're not going to get any bang for their buck for going in extra. They don't get extra money because they sell another account down the street. You know what I mean? Like that was their biggest challenge.
No, I understand. It doesn't do the operations people any justice. It just makes their job harder.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Middle management is like, okay, well, we lost again this month. What are we going to do? What can we do? Can't you get the manager to become the floor guy or or floor person, I should say.
You know what? I just wrote a column. I don't know if I'm going to put it out tomorrow or next week, but I just wrote a column called "You Can't Be on Both First and Third." You can't play first base and third base. And too many times that's what they're asking housekeeping managers to do nowadays. Can you manage and be in a job position? The answer is no. I can be in a job position, but somebody else is going to have to manage it.
Right. And, you know, that happened to me. Obviously, it happens in the smaller buildings.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like the difference when I was in West Philly, the 400 bed, you were strictly a manager. There was no way was I able to be any type of do hands-on.
Of course.
But when I worked in the smaller buildings, it was very hard for me to do the quality control inspections because they had me in a routine on weekends. Like, hey, if you have to work Saturday and Sunday, you're going to pull the linen and, you know, mop all the hallways.
Yeah, which again, which again, I completely understand it, but you just have to know that you can't play first and third.
I like that line.
You can't get away with playing first and second, and they're right beside each other. You know what I mean?
Correct. That's really a good way to put it.
You can't play both positions, which is fine. You know, with staffing shortages nowadays, and you're asking, you know, say to your housekeeping manager, listen, I'm going to need you to put you in a job position. Fine. Then you take over the management of the job. Don't leave that on that housekeeping manager.
Hopefully with technology today, where, you know, just the time clock back then versus the time management system today.
Yeah, 1,000,000% different.
Back then, it would take the manager 5 hours just to
do payroll.
You know, you'd have them cards and try and figure everything out.
Monday morning payroll, and
you'd have to change the clock at the end of the month because there's only 30 days, or you know. So,
the good old days of payroll audits, right?
Yes. And, but now with technology, maybe the manager is able to do different things.
Yeah, no question.
So.
Well, I got to tell you, I have been looking forward to talking with you. I'm so impressed with your story and how you just went out there and just made it happen. I think it's super great. I know you have a ask, right? Like, what are you looking for? How can people get a hold of you? If somebody's looking for a job and they live in Jersey, can they come and find you? How do they?
Yes. A few things. During COVID, some of the positive things it allowed us to do was I changed our websites. So I changed the daycarecleaningservices.com website. I changed education, EFM-USA.com, and also diversifiedcontractcleaning.com. And I made things like under opportunity. I put an opportunity section. Okay. And this is something for every business. What is our hiring process? So now it's like on the actual, whether I'm hiring on Indeed or Craigslist, I have direct people right to the website first. And when they go to our website, one, they get to read about our company, but two, when they could fill out their general information, whether they're going to be a service provider or an employee. Then we get the information. We look at it. Now, the next step, contact the person, do a Zoom or an on-site interview. Okay? They still haven't filled out the employee packet because a lot of people don't understand. There's the application, okay? And now, after they're hired, here's the employee packet. Years ago, as we all know, we would just give them, here's the employee packet.
Take it home.
Take it home.
Bring it back.
Right. So we're evolving, and that's like part of our system. So now, like I said, COVID was able to allow me to redo our websites. And here's one for you. And if you get a chance, take a look on the websites. We put our pictures this time on it. We don't just have, like, I got my picture on the website. I got the staff.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Somebody said, what you do, hire actors or models? No, that's the actual staff.
That's awesome.
So, you know, it sets us aside. And people say, hey, we really liked your website because we saw that there was real people. It wasn't the same person that's on, the other company's website that they're the same picture over and over again. So we've tried to take advantage of the time. We were never shut down, which is positive. And the contracts that we did lose, we made up by getting new ones. Whether we were offering sprays, electric spraying.
Are you guys doing that? Are you doing like the 360? Do you have the Clorox machines?
I wanted to buy the Clorox 360 about 3 years ago. Everybody said you're crazy. And my plan for the Clorox 360 was to purchase it. I bought the lab coat, and I wanted to look like the Eco Lab guy. Go for laundry. I wanted to be the Clorox guy.
I love it.
I didn't. What happened? I was trying to contact Clorox to get them to give me marketing information and how can I become a certified Clorox 360 provider? Because I realized this is pre-COVID. I realized the sales reps, whether they were from Philip Rosenthal or Imperial Dade or Supply Works, they weren't selling a lot of them in the beginning because nobody wanted to pay the $5,000.
Yeah.
I said, I don't have a problem paying, but I want to be the provider. I want Clorox to say, Rob's company is our certified provider.
Yeah, super smart.
I can never talk to anybody from Clorox. So I never went and purchased it, but we did buy the Victory sprayers, electrostatic sprayers, and different types. And we did a lot of spraying. In New Jersey, they were giving out grants to different childcare centers, which was good because that's my industry. And they were giving the different schools, allowing them to apply for grant money that they could use for janitorial. So that also.
Very cool.
So it's not like I said, I was able to hold my own. It's not like we made this big fortune or, and what upset me about this, and I got to say it, during the pandemic, you had companies coming out of the woodwork that had no business to be in the janitorial business.
In the school business, you're saying?
Any type of janitor, like the restoration companies. It's like, come on, and they were charging customers crazy amounts. Like I'm charging my customer $300, something, and they're charging $3,000 to go over places. And they're wearing the the suits and all the
hazmat suits.
Like it's ET, and it was upsetting after a while. And I was trying to look. I'm wearing all the hats here. I don't know all the answers. Okay, which product's better than which? Okay, we tried different ones. Mostly we go by with what our sales reps tell us that we buy from, that are reputable, that we know for 20 years. But to see these companies out there and whatever they were trying to sell, this product's good, it's going to last for 6 months, and it was just crazy. But we were able to hold our own. We're still here, and that's we're looking forward to continuing our services.
And you're looking for, if I can just circle back, you are looking for both general contractors and employees, right? At this point,
yeah.
Are you looking for both?
Both.
Yeah, awesome. And
when we say general contract, what we look for is a mom and pop cleaning company. We're not looking
1099. A 1099. Anybody who
they're all 1099s, but a mom and pop cleaning company, meaning the owner of the cleaning company is actually on site.
Yeah, the one cleaning. Yeah.
Yes. So we're not
solopreneur operation.
Correct. So as well as employees, part-time employees, and like I said, feather in everyone's cap in housekeeping, but they're always the best.
Yeah.
They know housekeepers that work in hospitals and healthcare environments, they know how to clean.
Yeah, they definitely are cut above the. Well, they have access to standards and training that most people don't outside that industry. In the cleaning industry anyway.
Right, and it's it's education. It's just that we've seen it over the past just 10, 11 years. I've been involved with ISSA. We're like, why aren't these other companies here? Why aren't they sending? Look, not everybody can get to Vegas, but when they have it in Baltimore. I'm there. I love going down.
Yeah, of course.
Baltimore, each area, even New Jersey has its own. New Jersey has buildings and grounds with schools. So,
yeah. And of course, you're still looking for clients.
Always looking new clients. Yes.
More customers.
Well, more is not always great.
No, I know it isn't.
Bigger is not. But I learned. And again, it comes with experience, but so I had to learn the hard way. Big is not always better, because you could be doing $5 million a year, and what good is it if you're not making anything? Yeah,
you're not gonna be able to keep any of it. That's not helpful.
There's a fella, one of the fellows from Inc. magazine. His name was Bo Birmingham. He wrote something Small Giants or something like that. He wrote a book that. There's Small Giants, I think was the name.
That's a pretty good title, meaning the smaller companies that are dominating because of their size.
Yes. Like I know people in our industry, they might only have they do. I'll give you an example. They might have 5 employees and they're making great money and they're just doing tag work, meaning they're just doing the stripping and waxing. That's all they do. Where they're just doing carpet cleaning.
Yeah.
Versus, I'm taking a cleaning contract. I'm charging, say, $1,500 a month, and I'm only making maybe $200.
Yeah.
Versus, I could be doing that one-time job and making $500.
Yep.
So.
No, I understand. So,
I think it's. You got to be diversified. You got to take a little bit of each. You got to have your steady contracts, your Monday to Friday contracts, and then you also got to get your tag work in as well.
Monthly reoccurring revenue, and then still have a side hustle.
Mm-hmm. Well, my side hustle is U-Haul.
Really?
I started when we bought this property 10 years ago.
Oh, so are you on a main drag?
We're on a main drag.
Oh, there you go.
We bought we're right off of Route 70 in Cherry Hill, and we have this nice lot. And I found out that you could, U-Haul will give you their trucks for free. You just got to manage. It's all computer now.
Yeah, of course, but that's pretty fantastic.
It's just extra income. It's not a lot, but if you can make an extra $1,000 a month,
I would take an extra $1,000 a month.
I think we need it,
Yeah, no question. Rob, thank you so much for being on the show today. I'm again just really excited and happy that you're able to come on and share your story, because I think it's really important.
Thank you. I've been long overdue, and
definitely. We've known each other for a long time. We met at a ISSA convention. I don't know where, Chicago, maybe Orlando. Who knows?
You just released your book.
So 2014, I just wrote my first book, and yeah.
Right.
Yeah, 4 books later. Look at us, right?
Yeah. So.
All right, Rob, don't go anywhere. But the show, sadly, the cleanest hour in podcasting is over. Went a little bit over today. Not a big deal, because it was super fun and engaging. If you liked what you saw and heard today, make sure you subscribe and tell everybody about the Housekeepers Podcast. Share the love. Other than that, thank you, everybody, for everything. And I will see you, on Thursday. We're doing the podcast twice a week now. That's how popular we've become in a very short amount of time. So be sure to tune in again, 4 p.m. on Thursday.